Archangel Michael says, someone you lost contact with is crying for you in heaven. They sent this message through me. Open before midnight. The hour is late, and the air itself carries a trembling silence. In the spirit, I see a lone clock ticking toward midnight, each second echoing like a heartbeat across eternity. A trumpet tone whispers faintly in the background of the heavens, not blasting yet, but softly calling, like the prelude before a great unveiling. This is the moment when the scroll is opened, and its words are spoken aloud as both warning and promise. Hear this proclamation, for it is not given lightly. Someone you lost contact with is crying for you in heaven. They sent this message through me. Open before midnight. This message does not arrive on a random day. No, it comes on a night marked by a holy hush, a divine timestamp etched across heaven's calendar. And it carries urgency. You must receive it before midnight. That is the appointed threshold, the window where earth and heaven touch. To delay is to risk missing a heavenly exchange, for heaven's doors do not remain open without limit. I, Michael, Archangel of the Most High, stand as both messenger and protector. My wings spread wide at your threshold. My sword gleams as fire at your side. I come not with empty words, but with a burden carried from realms unseen, for someone who once walked beside you, now watches from the course of eternity, their tears like drops of living water falling into time. Their cry has not faded. It has rippled into this very night, and heaven has allowed it to reach you now. But listen, this is not for everyone. No, this is not a message for the crowd. It is reserved for those whose names are written in a certain ledger of sorrow and waiting. If your spirit stirs even now, it is because your name is inscribed there. You have been chosen to hear what others cannot. So I command you, be still. Silence the noise. Stop the endless scrolling. Quiet your house. Stand still in obedience, for silence unlocks what follows. The ties of love that seemed severed still echo between realms, and this message is the bridge across that echo. Before midnight, whisper this prayer. Michael, I receive the message. Guard me as I hear what heaven has spoken. And as you do, heaven will open the first page of what has been sealed for you. Type I am chosen in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1122 is now activated. By the authority of Michael, hear what heaven is saying tonight. This is not a casual word, not a fleeting impression, not a coincidence that appeared as you wandered through your evening. No, this is a message sealed in eternity, carried through the veil, and delivered in this exact moment. Heaven has timed it. Your spirit has been summoned to listen, and my voice carries both the weight of warning and the comfort of protection. Look at the hour. In the next few hours, before the stroke of midnight, a voice you once loved will find you. That voice is not bound to earth any longer. It is clothed in light, carried on the wind of eternity. Yet it has not ceased its cry. Its tears have been gathered, and those tears are being poured out as a testimony tonight. You are hearing this not because of chance, but because you were named in their cry. Even now, as I speak, sense the sound of armor clanking as I enter your dwelling. Smell the faint incense of heaven that lingers at the edge of your room. See, if your spirit allows, the blue-white glow that gathers at the doorway. That is my presence, For I stand between the living and the eternal, between silence and revelation. If you are chosen to hear this, do not dismiss it. Do not explain it away. Do not say, maybe this is for someone else. If your heart quickens, if your chest trembles, if your mind suddenly recalls a face long left behind, then this message has already found its mark. You are singled out. You are set apart, and heaven has bent low to bring you this word. I know the ache you carry, the unanswered calls, the folded letters, the words that were never spoken, the apologies that were never released. I know of the night you replayed moments in silence, whispering, if only I tell you, heaven has not forgotten those moments. What was sealed in sorrow has been opened in glory, and their cry now crosses the veil to reach you. You not think this strange? For I, Michael, stand in the courts of heaven with a scroll, and upon that scroll are written names and tears. One of those names is yours. The one who has gone before you lifted your name with tears, and those tears were not ignored. Tonight, their love has written you into a divine message, and I have been dispatched to deliver it. You must not harden your heart. You must not turn away. This is not a message for the skeptical. This is a message for the obedient. For what heaven delivers, it delivers with purpose, and to reject the purpose is to delay what was meant to be open. Therefore, repeat the short prophetic line with me now. Open, even if it hurts. Open, even if I fear. Open, even if I tremble. Place your hand over your heart as you breathe deeply. Feel the rhythm of your chest. This is the sign that life still flows, that purpose still remains, that heaven has not finished with you. Their cry reaches you because you are still part of their unfinished testimony. What follows from here is not light, not casual, not ordinary. What follows is the unraveling of a divine mystery. If you are willing to receive, then open your heart in faith. For tonight heaven speaks, and I, Michael, have come to deliver. Type Amen to get blessings 1414. There are eyes that watched you walk away. There are voices that whispered when you were not in the room. There were half-truths spoken, stories twisted, subtle exclusions that built invisible walls between you and the one who now cries for you in heaven. You thought the silence was ordinary. You thought the distance was final. But heaven has seen deeper than your memory allows. For when you recall the past, you remember shadows, yet heaven remembers in light. And in that light, nothing is hidden, nothing erased. Listen closely. There were conversations you never heard. There were questions you carried that never found answers. You asked, why did they stop calling? Why did they turn away? Why did they leave without a word? Those questions were not buried. They were recorded in heaven. And now, from eternity, the one you lost speaks with tears that are not bitter, but tears of unfinished love. They are not weeping for revenge, not crying for anger, but mourning the fragments of love and connection left undone. This is why your heart aches unexpectedly. This is why a certain song still makes your chest tremble. Why a scent in the air suddenly pulls you back into a moment long past. Why dreams return with a face you thought you had forgot. Do not dismiss these as accidents. They are signals, divine echoes of a connection that death did not erase. Their memory lives in heaven, and their cry stirs you now. Even now, heaven reveals this dissonance. Your memory and their memory do not match. On earth, silence closed the door. In heaven, the door was left ajar, waiting for this moment of unveiling. While you carried questions in silence, they carried prayers in eternity. While you wondered, why did this happen? They lifted your name with tears. And those tears carried weight, enough weight to bend heaven's ear and release this message to you tonight. But hear this also, there were forces, both human and unseen, that profited from your silence. There were some who rejoiced when you lost touch. There were some who gained from the distance. Heaven does not reveal their names now, for this is not the hour of accusation, but of awakening. What matters is that their schemes did not erase love. Love endured, love crossed the veil, and love is speaking now. This is why you cannot rest easily when you see an old photograph. This is why your spirit stirs without reason in the night. The cry from heaven unsettles you because love unfinished always demands attention. Their cry is not to chain you in sorrow, but to awaken you into a greater clarity of purpose. You must see that what felt random was not random. What felt buried was not buried. What felt silenced was not silenced. The disruption you feel tonight is heaven's way of telling you there is more to this story. Yes, there will be revelations that clarify, but also revelations that demand humility. For heaven will not flatter your pride. It will not rewrite the past to make you flawless. It will remind you that every silence, every tear, every misunderstanding is woven into a larger design. Do not resist the disruption. Allow it to break the still waters of your heart, for only then can healing flow. This is not random. This is not without purpose. The unrest you feel tonight is the stirring of destiny. And though it hurts, it is holy. Type "I am anointed" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 777 is now upon you. Beloved, if this word is reaching you, it means heaven is moving in your story. Every time you sow into this ministry, you are not giving to a channel. You are opening a door for God's voice to reach souls who are desperate to hear Him. When you release a seed through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, the link is in the video description, you are placing oil on this fire, so it can burn brighter and reach further. The word says, "He that sows bountifully shall also reap bountifully." Tonight, that promise lives for you. I invite you, as Michael speaks and heaven confirms, to take a step of obedience and activate your faith through giving. When you release, God releases. When you bless, heaven blesses you. Do not delay. Sow into the harvest of souls now. The separation you endured was not without meaning. What felt like betrayal, what felt like silence, what felt like abandonment was not merely human action. It was a spiritual testing, a refining fire allowed by heaven to shape you. You saw people, you saw choices, you saw distance, but behind it all there were deeper movements, unseen ordinances at work. And now I, Michael, reveal to you, your conflict was not simply about what was taken or who walked away. It was about your calling, your refinement, and your appointment in destiny. Do not think it strange that you were targeted. Do not think it unusual that you were opposed. The truth is this: Those marked for greatness are often marked for scrutiny. When the enemy senses divine potential, he raises storms to confuse, to separate, to silence. Yet heaven does not allow the storm to destroy you, but to refine you. The fire was permitted not to consume, but to prove what cannot be burned away. And though you walked through sorrow, though you endured silence, though you faced unseen betrayal, you stand here still. That is the testimony of heaven's hand over your life. I, Michael, speak now not only as messenger, but as commander. I did not come merely to comfort. I came to remind you that the battles you faced were not without soldiers at your side. In the unseen, angels were positioned around you. While you cried in your room, unaware, there were swords drawn in your defense. When accusations were whispered behind your back, there were shields raised to deflect what you could not hear. You did not fight alone. You were observed, guarded, and protected even when you felt abandoned. What looked like betrayal on earth may have been a blockade in heaven's strategy. Sometimes, God allows doors to close because behind them are traps. Sometimes people must leave because their presence would poison your next season. Sometimes silence is the only shield against manipulation. What you called loss, heaven called preservation. What you thought was rejection, heaven named redirection. Do not judge the moment by your pain. Judge it by the fruit it has borne in you. Listen carefully now. Your reaction in this season is critical. Pride will only deepen the wound. Retaliation will only extend the battle. But silence, humility, and obedience unlock power. To remain still in the face of the accusation is not weakness. It is strategy. To observe without speaking is not cowardice, it is warfare. When you withhold your tongue, you starve the schemes of the adversary. When you guard your peace, you sharpen heaven's sword on your behalf. Imagine this: shields raised on the wall, chains breaking at your feet, watchmen standing guard while you sleep. This is the reality of your story. You were not cast aside without witness. You were not abandoned without angels. Every heartbeat, every tear, every silence was observed in the courts of heaven. And in those courts, nothing is wasted. So hear my short prophetic directive. Do not retaliate in anger. Observe. Listen. Align yourself with heaven's instruction. Let humility guard your steps, and let discernment guide your choices. The conflict has meaning, and the judge of all will weigh it in his time. I declare this with authority. The separation that wounded you was not your undoing. It was your refining. The silence that haunted you was not the end. It was the training ground for your authority. And what felt like abandonment was, in truth, the shadow of angelic wings covering you from unseen harm. Trust the framing, for the architect is wise. Type "I am guarded" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 444 is now surrounding you. Hear me now, for the hour narrows. The window you stand in is not wide, and the atmosphere around you has already begun to shift. Within 72 hours, a stirring will move through your life. Choices will be presented. Opportunities will knock softly, disguised as ordinary moments, yet carrying eternal weight. Do not treat this lightly. What you decide in this narrow window will echo beyond this week, beyond this season, and even into the generations that follow. Heaven speaks with urgency because the moment is urgent. There are movements unfolding behind the veil. Someone in your circle, or just beyond it, is beginning to shift. The alliances, once set against you, are shaking. Their posture toward you is softening. There may be an unexpected word, a message, a quiet approach, not loud, not public, but sudden, like a whisper breaking through silence. Be alert. Do not dismiss the small things, for heaven often hides its greatest work inside what appears insignificant. At the same time, know this: not every approach is reconciliation. Some will come with repentance in their eyes. Others may come with motives unclean. This is why discernment must guard you. You must test the spirit, for not every door that reopens is meant to be walked through. Some openings are traps dressed as blessings. Some faces return not to heal you, but to pull you back into chains you have already broken. This is why I urge you: stay watchful, stay sober, stay aligned with heaven. Already, dreams may be intensifying. Already, names may echo in your mind. Already, memories you buried may surface without warning. This is not random. This is spiritual pressure mounting. The cries from heaven are colliding with movements on earth. Old wounds may suddenly throb again. Songs you haven't heard in years may play when you least expect them. Even an old ringtone may suddenly sound, pulling you into remembrance. These are not coincidences. They are markers of the shift. But take heed. There are also those preparing to move pieces in silence. Human agents, influenced by forces you cannot see, are aligning themselves. Plans are being drawn. Conversations are being held without your knowledge. And yet heaven reveals enough to keep you vigilant. You are not to walk in fear, but in readiness. Know that strategies are forming, but heaven's hand is stronger. The pieces they move may set the board, but the outcome belongs to God. If you ignore this moment, if you brush it aside as nothing, you risk stretching your season of waiting longer than intended. If you fail to steward the signs, the lessons may repeat until obedience is learned. But if you remain alert, if you lean in, if you respond with discernment, then this narrowing window will become the doorway to advancement. This is not a warning to paralyze you. This is a charge to awaken you. Therefore, mark these next 72 hours with prayer, with stillness, with watchful eyes. Record what you see. Note what you feel. Pay attention to the smallest signs. For the time is short, and the weight of heaven presses upon this moment. Be sober. Be watchful. Be ready. The trumpet of midnight is not far. Type "I will watch" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 555 has now been released upon you. Be still. Hear this command not as a suggestion, but as a strategy. Heaven does not ask you to fight in your own strength. Heaven asks you to stand in stillness while angels war on your behalf. The coming hours are not a time for panic or rash decisions. They are not a time for anger, confrontation, or desperate reaching. They are a time for peace, stillness, and sacred observation. For when you resist the urge to act in the flesh, Heaven is given full permission to act in the Spirit. Understand this. Heaven fights best when you do not. The war in the unseen realm is not won by louder words or sharper arguments. It is won in silence, in fasting, in whispered prayers that pierce the veil. Withdraw from noisy places. Step back from the voices that only confuse you. Create space for silence. Let your spirit breathe in the hush of heaven, for it is in the quiet that clarity descends. A simple prayer spoken aloud is stronger than 1,000 arguments. A single whispered verse carries more power than a book of complaints. Do not think you are powerless because you choose silence. Silence is a fortress. Silence is a weapon. When you choose not to react, you refuse to give ground to the enemy. When you hold your tongue, you close the door to manipulation. When you choose stillness, you force heaven's adversaries to fight without your cooperation. This is your shield, to say less, to react less, to wait more, to listen closely. Tonight, and in the days ahead, take practical steps of obedience. Journal your dreams. Record the impressions that stir in your heart. Write down the moments that feel too sharp to be accidents. These are not fragments of imagination. They are notes from heaven, waiting to be pieced together. Guard them as treasure. For out of the smallest impressions, the largest confirmations will come. Whisper these affirmations as you breathe. I am guarded. My name is known in heaven. I receive clarity. I walk in peace. Let these words replace the noise of accusation and fear. Every time your mind wanders to worry, speak these lines aloud. Your words become walls, and your faith becomes fire. Do not allow yourself to be drawn into public confrontations. Do not allow yourself to be baited into arguments or disputes. Guard your heart, guard your tongue, and guard your peace. Seek wise counsel if needed, but choose carefully whom you allow to hear your heart. Not every ear is pure. Not every voice can carry your burden without twisting it. Ask heaven to direct you to the one or two who are trustworthy and share only what aligns with God's peace. Before midnight, breathe this prayer. Michael, place your sword at my threshold. Place angels at my gate. Let no voice enter my dwelling unless it comes in peace. Know that as you speak it, angels are stationed. Thresholds are guarded. Doorways are secured. You are not left vulnerable. You are shielded on every side. So rest, even as the atmosphere grows tense. Be still, even as the signs stir. Let peace rule your heart, for heaven is moving where your eyes cannot see. This is not your battle to fight. It is your battle to endure, and heaven will deliver the victory. Type I am guarded in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1010 is now covering you. You have carried the weight of silence. You have endured the sting of unanswered questions. You have known what it feels like to stand in the shadows, uncertain of your worth, wondering if the brokenness was a reflection of your identity. But I declare to you now, you are not the broken one. You are not the abandoned one. You are not the forgotten one. What the stories seemed to say about you was incomplete. Heaven did not end your testimony in sorrow. Heaven is now turning the page. The season of vulnerability has come to its turning point. What once looked like your breaking is becoming your making. The furnace that burns so fiercely against you has not left you in ashes. Instead, it has forged you like armor. Every wound became a seam of strength. Every scar, once a mark of pain, is now a map guiding you toward purpose. You were not crushed to remain broken. You were pressed so that the oil of destiny could flow from you. Rise now on wings that were hidden until this very moment. You thought your strength had left you, but strength was being stored. You thought your voice was taken, but your silence was only sharpening your sound. You thought your crown had slipped away, but even now, heaven places a new one upon your head, not of shame, not of loss, but of victory refined through trial. Hear me. Your victimhood narrative is shattered. No longer shall you rehearse the lines that told you that you were less, that you were weak, that you were rejected. Those words are ashes, and they will not cling to you anymore. Speak this aloud. I am not forsaken. I am not forgot you. I am chosen. I'm rising. Let these declarations fill your chest. Let them echo in your room. Let them pierce the atmosphere around you. For your tongue carries authority, and heaven responds to the declarations of faith. Look at your journey. Look at the scars you carry. They once felt heavy, but now they tell a different story. They are not marks of defeat. They are proof that you survived what was sent to destroy you. They are evidence that your life has meaning, that your endurance has value, that your testimony cannot be erased. Those scars are your credentials, and heaven will use them to open doors you never imagined. And now, I charge you, take small steps of faith. Step forward with courage, even if your feet tremble. Sometimes that step will be silence when others expect you to shout. Sometimes it will be listening when others expect you to defend yourself. Sometimes it will be a phone call, a gesture of reconciliation, but only when heaven directs. Do not rush ahead. Do not cling back. Walk when heaven says walk. Speak when heaven says speak. Move only in alignment, and you will see doors swing open that had been sealed for years. I, Michael, will escort you into this new season of empowerment. I stand at your side, and I walk ahead to clear the way. No longer will you bow under the weight of shame. No longer will you shrink under the memory of betrayal. You will rise. You will take your appointed place. And the world will catch up to what heaven already knows about you. That you are chosen, anointed, and appointed for this hour. Type I am rising in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 2020 is now active upon you. Now the veil begins to lift, and what was hidden comes into focus. You wondered why the trial lingered, why the silence burned, why the memory of that lost connection continued to echo across your life. Tonight, heaven unveils the reason. The season was never meant to punish you. It was meant to prepare you, to push you, to press you into the fullness of your calling. What looked like delay was actually alignment. What looked like abandonment was the setup for your awakening. The cry of the one in heaven was not merely a memory, it was a catalyst. Their tears became the trigger for heaven's movement in your life. Every cry they lifted, every whisper they spoke over your name, every longing they carried across the veil became fuel for the season you are now stepping into. Their voice did not die. It became part of the chorus in heaven that pleaded for your advancement. And now, heaven answers with movement. This is the divine cause. You were standing at the threshold of destiny, and the separation, the silence, the disruption, all of it was the doorway that forced you to walk toward your true assignment. You would not have been pressed into prayer if not for loss. You would not have been refined into strength if not for the silence. You would not have been awakened to heaven's nearness if not for the cry. What was delayed is now being reauthorized for your life. Doors are reopening, not to trap you, but to release you into the greater. Your name was spoken in heaven, and your name was not ignored. The one who sits on the throne heard it. The angels recorded it. The scrolls carried it. The tears did not fall into the ground and vanish. They fell into the hands of God, and from his hands they have been poured into this very moment. You are seen. You are known. You are remembered. And the promises are real. New doors will open. New opportunities will find you. Favor will be placed in your path. Relationships, once broken, will find a way toward healing, not by human effort alone, but by heaven's orchestration. Watch for keys being returned. Watch for conversations that open without effort. Watch for reconciliatory gestures that appear when you least expect them. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations. Speak this prophetic line aloud now. What was delayed is being reauthorized for my life. Say it until your chest vibrates with conviction. Say it until your heart believes it. For heaven responds to faith, and faith is released through declaration. But remember, revelation carries responsibility. Heaven's promises are not entertainment. They are instructions. What is spoken requires alignment. If you resist, you delay. If you obey, you accelerate. This is your moment to lean in, to align your choices with what heaven is unveiling. Do not be afraid. Change is coming, and it will be measurable. You will see it. You will feel it. You will know it. And when it comes, you will remember that the cry of love from heaven was not wasted. It was the sound that opened the gates for your destiny. Type "I receive" in the comments if you believe this word. Blessing code 3030 is now released upon you. Beloved soul, as heaven unveils mysteries over your life, I ask you to consider this. Every seed you sow into this ministry becomes part of the fire that carries God's word to others waiting for their own revelation. When you give through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal link in the video description, you are not just giving, you are sowing into souls, unlocking doors of light for those still walking in darkness. Scripture declares, "Give, and it shall be given unto you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over." That word is alive for you right now. I invite you, not as suggestion but as a prophetic step, to act, to release, to sow. As you do, may the oil of favor be poured upon your life, and may your giving speak louder than your battles. Do not delay. Heaven is moving, and your obedience will move with it. The revelation has been spoken, and now heaven calls you into action. Prophecy is never meant to lie dormant on the surface of your heart. It is seed, and seed requires soil. It is oil, and oil requires a vessel. What has been unveiled over you must now be activated by your voice, your steps, your obedience. You are not merely a listener of heaven's secrets. You are a participant in heaven's unfolding plan. This is your moment of activation. Say this aloud with me now. I accept the unlocking. I will walk in my assignment. I will not delay my destiny. I receive what heaven has spoken. Let these declarations roll off your tongue not as empty phrases, but as weapons. Every word spoken in faith shakes the atmosphere. Every phrase becomes a key in your hand, opening what was once sealed. Speak boldly, for silence may have protected you in the last season, but declaration must now propel you into the next. Do not be deceived into thinking that activation requires something grand or public. Heaven does not always measure in crowds or noise. Heaven measures in obedience. Sometimes the smallest steps carry the greatest weight. Write the letter you were afraid to write, even if you never send it. Speak forgiveness over the one who hurt you, even if they never hear it. Restore the habit of prayer that honors both heaven and the memory of the one who cried for you. These steps may feel small, but they are monumental in the spirit. Activation also requires alignment. A promise without obedience is like a key without a door. You must match your actions to what has been declared. If reconciliation is placed before you, handle it with humility. If opportunity knocks, open without fear. If silence is commanded, do not break it. For every promise that is real requires the soil of obedience to manifest. But this activation is not just personal, it is also communal. Share this journey with one trusted soul, a friend, a mentor, a spiritual elder. Invite them to pray with you, to stand beside you, to help guard what heaven is birthing in your life. Do not scatter your revelation to those who will mock or twist it. Share it carefully, and heaven will strengthen its root within you. Tonight, before midnight, perform this sacred act. Light a candle if you can. As the flame flickers, remember that heaven's light is now kindled in your story. Whisper a verse aloud, or pray a short prayer with conviction. Place your hand on your chest and breathe deeply, saying, I am aligned. I am awakened. I am assigned. This is more than ritual. It is agreement. Heaven responds to symbols of faith. The unseen realm marks these moments as legal transactions. Keep a record. Write down what stirs in you. Record the dreams that visit. Document the coincidences that come too sharp to ignore. These are confirmations, and in time, they will testify to the reality of this activation. You are stepping into a chapter that others will one day marvel at. Your obedience today writes the testimony of tomorrow. So rise, beloved. Do not hesitate. You not fear. Say yes to heaven's offer. Open the door. Walk through it. Stand firm in it. For destiny waits on no one. But tonight destiny is waiting on you. Type ISAYYS in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 818 has been loosed into your life. Even now, as you sit in this moment, something beyond your sight is unfolding. In the hidden chambers of the Spirit, transactions are taking place. Angels walk with scrolls in their hands, ledgers inscribed with names, petitions and tears. I see a courtroom not built with stone but with light, walls radiant as crystal, floor gleaming as glass, throne surrounded by fire that does not consume but reveals. Here, cries are weighed, prayers are recorded, destinies are measured, and justice flows like a river from the heart of God. In this silent court, the one who cried for you stands as a witness. Their tears are not ignored. They are brought forward as evidence, poured into bowls that tremble under their weight. The love speaks still, not in words but in essence, not in accusations but in longing. These tears are presented before the Judge of eternity, and the gavel of mercy strikes in your favor. What was left undone is now being counted. What was overlooked on earth is being remembered in heaven. You must understand, there is a quiet commerce in the unseen realm. What was stolen is now being returned. What was denied is being reassigned. There is a divine redistribution taking place. Chains once wrapped around your path are being unlocked. Scrolls that were sealed are being opened. Names once hidden are being written again, this time in boldness, this time in promise. While you sleep, heaven speaks. While you weep, heaven records. While you wonder, heaven works. The silence you feel is not absence, it is transaction. While your room is quiet, the spirit realm is busy. Angels move like messengers of fire, carrying decrees from throne to earth, setting things in order, preparing alignments that your human eyes cannot yet see. And though you cannot watch their hands, you will soon feel the results. A name will return to your lips. A door will suddenly open. A weight will lift from your shoulders without explanation. These are signs that the silent exchange has been completed. Do not be anxious. Nothing that was truly yours will be lost forever. Nothing that was rooted in love will remain buried. Nothing that was written for you will be erased. The timing may have seemed cruel, the silence unbearable, the distance unfair, but heaven has been working beneath the surface all along. What looks delayed in your world is right on time in the spirit. See now in the spirit, a seal being placed upon your destiny, a hand reaching across eternity to rewrite your name in light. The gavel striking once, twice, sealing your future with authority. Hear the whisper. It is restored. It is returned. It is redeemed. You must trust these unseen logistics. Do not demand to see every detail. Do not force what heaven has already set in motion. Your faith is the signature required on the contract heaven has written in your name. Believe, align, and wait with expectation. Remember this truth. There is a commerce between tears and crowns, between cries and victories, between silence and fulfillment. What was lifted in sorrow will be answered in glory. And tonight, as this silent exchange continues, you are being positioned for what eyes have not seen and ears have not heard. Type "I believe" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 909 is released into your life. The scales of heaven are not silent. Every tear, every silence, every scheme, and every injustice has been placed upon them. You thought your suffering was unseen, but nothing escapes the gaze of the eternal judge. I, Michael, speak with certainty. The hour of divine reversal has come. The cries of the one who interceded for you in heaven, joined with your own tears on earth, have weighed heavy before the throne, and the balance must now be restored. What they kept will return. What was stolen will be restored tenfold. What was broken will be pieced back together, not as it once was, but stronger, unshakable, untouchable. Do not imagine that heaven has overlooked the betrayals, the whispers, the doors slammed in your face, or the moments you were pushed aside so others could profit from your absence. Justice is not delayed forever. Justice is not asleep. Justice is rising, and when it rises, no man, no spirit, no power can hold it back. But remember, this justice is not born of vengeance. It is not the bitter delight of watching another fall. It is the righteous balancing of heaven's scales, where mercy and truth meet, where righteousness and peace kiss. Some will be confronted gently, others publicly. Some will be stripped quietly, others exposed openly. Heaven decides the method, but the outcome is certain. The story will be written in your favor. See it now in the spirit. Altars once broken are being rebuilt. Doors once closed are swinging wide. Tables once denied to you are being set again, and this time your seat is reserved. Opportunities that were stolen are being rerouted into your path. What was meant to bury you will now lift you. What was meant to silence you will amplify you. The very shadows that tried to suffocate your destiny will become the backdrop against which your light shines brightest. But here is the warning. Rejoice not in another's ruin. Do not allow your heart to become proud when you witness justice unfold. Lift your eyes higher, for this is not about human revenge. This is about divine order. This is about heaven reminding the world that righteousness stands, that truth cannot be buried, that love endures beyond death, and that obedience will always be rewarded. Therefore, speak this prophetic line aloud. Justice rises. My portion shifts. Repeat it with the authority of one who knows that heaven is not deaf, that the throne is not idle, that your case has already been heard and ruled upon. Every time you declare it, you align your spirit with what heaven has already decreed. Get ready to make room for restoration. Do not treat it as a dream. Treat it as a reality. Prepare your heart for favor. Prepare your hands for blessing. Prepare your home for reconciliation. The reversal is not a concept. It is a process already in motion. You will see it with your eyes. You will testify of it with your lips. And those who doubt it will marvel, for they will know that the hand of God has moved on your behalf. The reversal is certain. The justice is unfolding. And the restoration will be undeniable. Type "My justice is coming" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 717 is now covering you. The cry has been heard. The tears have been gathered. The scroll has been opened. Tonight heaven has pulled back the veil and allowed you to glimpse the mystery. Someone you lost contact with cried for you in heaven, and their love has reached across eternity to stir your destiny. This is not imagination. This is not accident. This is not coincidence. This is divine timing. The window has been opened, but you must act with stillness and faith before midnight. I, Michael, leave you now with a blessing that seals all that has been spoken. May the peace of God anchor your heart. May the fire of His presence guard your steps. May the sword of heaven cut down every unseen adversary. And may the light of His glory restore what was broken, heal what was wounded, and reawaken what was dormant within you. You are not forgotten. You are not forsaken. You are sealed. You are seen. You are sent. Whisper this benediction over yourself. I am sealed. I am seen. I am sent. I go in peace and I rise in power. Let it echo into your atmosphere. Let it saturate your room. Let it become the final sound you hear before you sleep tonight. Do not forget the midnight motif. Before the clock strikes, take the simple act of agreement. Write down what you have received. Speak a short prayer of thanks. Light a candle if you can, even for a moment, and let its flame remind you of the light now burning in your destiny. Heaven has given you a sign, and it is yours to steward with humility. So leave this moment not as one who listened only, but as one who has been commissioned. Leave it knowing you have been covered. Leave it knowing that angels surround you. Leave it knowing that heaven has already begun to move. The cry was not in vain. The tears were not wasted. The window has opened, and you are walking into the future heaven has designed. Receive it. Believe it. Walk in it. And may the blessing of heaven be your portion forever. Type I am sealed in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1212 is now resting on you. Beloved soul, if this message has stirred your spirit, then you already know how urgent the work of heaven is in this hour. I invite you to partner with this mission, not for me, but for the countless hearts who still wait for their own midnight word. When you sow through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal link in the video description, you are fueling the spread of God's word like oil poured upon a flame. The scripture declares, "Those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed." Your gift is not a donation. It is a prophetic act, a seed that will come back to you pressed down and overflowing. As Michael has spoken, so heaven watches. Let your giving be a testimony of obedience. Do not wait. Step in now, sow into the light, and watch the harvest rise around you.